Every human being is really equipped with two distinct and really differently contrasting ways of perceiving. Our first way is through sensing, and this is a very familiar process. This is how we become aware of things by directly experiencing them through our five senses: touch, smell, sight, sound, and even taste. Our other one is through intuition, and intuition is an indirect perception. It's through the unconscious by way that we incorporate ideas and associations, and it unconsciously tacks on to other perceptions from the outside. So the best way to describe this would be to describe it as a hunch, or maybe it's heard as a woman's intuition. These two kinds of perceptions compete for a person's attention, and that most people from infancy up are going to enjoy one type over another. So for sensing, we're going to look and see that people who perceive through sensing are going to use those senses. They're going to also be interested in the actuality around them, and they're going to have very little attention to spare for ideas that come from seemingly nowhere. For instance, if you're a reader and you prefer sensing, you're going to confine your attention to what is being said on the page exactly. Now remember, these two types of perceptions are actually going to compete for attention. On the intuition side, we're going to see that this are going to include people who are very engrossed in looking at the possibilities. They want to see what is available, and they're going to seldom look intently at actualities. So if you are a reader, as an example, who prefers intuition, you're going to be more likely to read between the lines and look for some possibilities. As soon as children really understand and exercise a preference towards one of these two ways of perceiving, a basic difference is going to start to develop. The children who have enough command of these mental processes are going to use their favorite process more often, and they're going to neglect the other one that they prefer less. So whichever process they prefer, whether that be sensing or intuition, is going to be used more, and paying closer attention to that stream of impressions and the ideas in the world and the process. Now the other kind of perception is going to fade into the background and become a little out of focus, a little fuzzy per se. So with the advantage of constant practice, however, this preferred process is going to grow. It's going to become more controlled. It's going to become trustworthy. And children then become adults, and they're going to use that preferred process more and more. And they're going to use their less frequent one to the point of almost a neglect. And their enjoyment is going to come from using that process and using activities that are going to include that process. Now, as through this natural selection, we're going to see that the child then becomes an adult and prefers the sensing, and one who prefers the intuition, they're going to diverge on different lines, and they're going to become adults that are going to channel their interests and their energy and activities that give them a chance to use their mind in the way that they prefer. Now, they both acquire a set of surface traits that are going to grow out of this basic preference. And this is what leads to the MBTI preference between sensing and intuition.